Okay, we are on the exercise of chapter 6. So this is amazing. We have gone through an entire journey together. If you're here, I want to say I love you. I think you're amazing that you went through 50 videos all on this subject. And I really hope that you reach out to me and I can be a mentor to you in any way possible. Just to say what I am good at. I'm good at marriage mediation. That's something that I'm very passionate about. People must stay married. I can help you with any mediation. I don't like doing divorce mediation, or certainly I like doing mediation that brings people together. I can help you with business mediation, anything that will bring people together. Thank God I'm quite good at that. I can help you on many subjects. I've written over 20 books. Go to my website, KabbalahWisdom.org. They're any one of those books if you want education on them. Really any subject. Obviously I have to charge. I charge $100 an hour. But any subject that you want help on, I am really here for you, here to help you. If you just have a question, you want to shoot me a question, feel free. My email is hashemechad, HASHEMECHAD @protonmail.com. I'm here for you. I'm really happy to be of service. So let's get down to the final exercise. And my friends, this is, as I've said, all the medicine in the world doesn't help if you don't take it. This is the most critical thing that you can do for happiness, for joy, for the meaning and reason why you're here in this world. This is it. And it's really fundamentally very, very simple. Everything we said till now was a build-up till this very moment. And it goes like this. We have discussed the importance of thinking about people whose happiness you are dependent on. Their existence makes you happy. Without them, you won't be happy. Now, every single day, I want you to do some act of goodness and kindness to that person. I gave this class in Manhattan, and the CEO of the company asked, and the rabbi introduced me to the company. So the CEO of the company asked, okay, what does this boil down? So the rabbi gave a good suggestion. He said, how about think something positive about the person you love? That's really critical because we can live with these people and we don't really think something positive. In fact, sometimes we become nasty because we take them for granted. Now, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. The second thing is say something positive to them. Call up your wife in the middle of work. You know how good she'd feel? You say, honey, I love you. Call up your husband. Say, whatever, Joe, I love you. You know, you'll make his day. Tell your child, I love you. I love it when I tell my son, I love you. He says, I know. That's great. What could be better than that? Say I love you to the people you have to say it to. We have sometimes in the West emotional constipation. We can't say it in a way that's good because sometimes people that are too flirty with their words, they don't mean anything. So it's good. Our words mean something, but say it. And number 3, you don't even have to say it. You can do something romantic. Buy your wife flowers. Buy your husband some chocolate. Do something small. Why? We usually take for granted the big things. The wife expects you to bring home a paycheck. The husband expects you to make supper. We have expectations, and these expectations and these roles are super, super good because we know what we should be doing, and together with these roles, everything works out. However, and this is a super important however, it's really beneficial to do something extra because why do flowers matter to a woman? And you're more than welcome to watch the videos. I'll try to put it as a resource, the videos from my TV show on this. So it's just a nice little refresher. Why do flowers matter to a woman? Because you're saying you matter to me. It's an act of you are special to me. Why does chocolate matter? Because you're special. I remember I gave my wife once this little tiny, it was like a tiny envelope that had said, I love you. And she hung it up on the fridge because that was an act of love. And to her, that was precious. So you see, it's an act of love, an act of goodness and kindness. And by golly, if they're in pain and they're suffering, make sure you deal with that. Do not let that go unchecked. The people you have to help are the people right in front of your face. And now, if you go to the very first part, I put in resources, my book, which you can also go to KabbalahLove.org, KabbalahLove.org, and download the book. Buy the book, whatever you want. But the bottom line is that I have 2 appendixes in my book, and I really recommend you read both of them. The first is Discover the Meaning of Your Life, how to help the people that are closest to you, how to help people. Very important to figure out. It's a 5-step process, and it will help you with the meaning of your life. Last but not least, I have another very important book. It's called Kabbalah on Marital Intimacy. We are in a disgusting generation. I shouldn't say that. That's not the right thing to say. We are amazing people. We are really wonderful people. But we have allowed, or the government, for stupid reasons, we have allowed pornography to go rampant. And it is not okay. A wife is not a porn star. She is meant to be treated with respect. The way you know you're a good person is if you're treating other people with respect. People that are all, narcissistic, and they're like they laugh at other people. Those are evil people, or they're good people in essence, but they have become evil. So it's very important to understand that the key thing in a relationship is respect, is dignity. And so you have to understand the person that loves you, they respect you. And because they respect you, they see themselves in you, they see the dignity. That relationship, intimacy, has to be basically, the bottom line is that a husband has to give his wife pleasure in intimacy. And if you do this, she will, first of all, give you pleasure back, and she will want it, and she will, most importantly, respect you, because you're not a dog. You're not just taking advantage of somebody. So this is a very important thing. First of all, intimacy is very good, very important. It bonds people. You should have as much only, and I want to say this is very super important. There is no allowance for sex outside of marriage. God is very clear. And you might say, oh, the rabbi is being prude. No. The rabbi is being super smart, because the average girl today, it's a disaster. It's a heartbreak. They go through 7 serious relationships. They have about 50 sexual encounters that's not in the relationships until they have a marriage, and then they have a 70% chance of divorce. That's a disaster. In the religious world, we don't have sex before marriage. In fact, according to the Kinsey studies from a long time ago, 1940, the people that have the most sex over a lifetime is religious Jews. Because 2 weeks, and I suggest this to everyone whether you're Jewish or not, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, basically from the period for about 2 weeks, there's no intimacy. And then afterwards, and if you're Jewish, you should read about the mikveh. It's a very beautiful ritual. And then people say it's like they feel it's their honeymoon again. They have this reunion. The way love works is a very important thing, and that is, it is like a dance. The Baal Shem Tov says, love, a relationship is like a dance. If you have 2 people together all the time, they're going to get sick of each other. You want to have separation. You want to be able to come back and forth, back and forth. It's good for the husband. I don't know, today there's going to be a lot of stress on jobs because people are working from home. It's not a healthy situation at all. You want to have time of separateness and time of together. You want to be a man, you want to be a woman, you want to come together with that romance, with that specialness. We are in very, very, very challenging times for relationships. Relationships to be healthy, they need separation. Men need guy friends. Women need girlfriends. We're in a time that people don't have friends. It's just, we're in a disaster of a disaster of a disaster. All I can say to you is join a group of guy friends, girlfriends. Make a time once a week at least to go out, hang out, even if it's by Zoom. You have to be a guy, you have to be a girl, and then you have to have the joy of the romance, the joy of coming together. That's the magic of it. And so I really hope that you do not have sex. And I want to say this to men, because we are good people. But the sexual desire is an instinct, and it's a very powerful instinct. To have sex with a woman and not to marry her is a form of rape, because women I'm just going to say it. There's a lot of research and a lot of things behind what I'm saying, and it's true. Even though it may not be PC, it's true, and I'm here to help people, not to be PC. Women basically work on, as John Gray say, exchange. They're basically traders. So I'm going to make supper for you. You're going to do this. Basically, women feel anxiety. And when you feel anxiety, in order to feel safe, what you do is you think, okay, the way the world works is we exchange. Men often don't feel anxiety, so they have desires, let's say a sexual desire. But to actually do that, the woman's thinking, okay, because I did this, now we're going to have a relationship. It's going to be good. And he's thinking, oh, I just did that. I got what I wanted. That's not okay. You are only allowed to marry one woman, and you have to stick with her. Now, it doesn't mean if you don't have irreconcilable differences, you can't get divorced. And by golly, please, if you're getting divorced, don't fight in court. Go to a divorce mediator. Get it mediated. It's the worst thing in the world. People kill each other. I got divorced, and we went basically to lawyers, and they just mediated it. And really, all I wanted was I was like, take the house, have the car. I don't care. I just want to have access to my kids. That's fine. And I'm perfectly happy. And we have a great divorce. She's very nice to me. I actually go there. I'm in the house and I spend time with the kids. She wants the kids to be with me. It's a great divorce. It's not great that we're divorced, but it is a good divorce. But the thing is, I never allowed resentment to build. That's so important. I always forgave no matter what happened. And if you're watching this, I apologize, but it's an important lesson, so we're helping people. I always forgave. I always, no matter what happens, I'll always forgive. Why? Because I don't want to be angry. It doesn't work. Anger and resentment and vengeance does not work. Mediation is a voluntary process, and you basically agree to disagree politely. This is how it's going to work. You have a problem, go back to a mediator. Again, even though I don't like helping people separate, I like helping people unite. If it's going to help you be a better divorced couple, you can come to me. I will help you. Again, there's a $100 charge per hour, but I will help you because it's super critical, especially for the children, to see you getting along. I spoke to a guy that I'm unfortunately helping them with their divorce mediation, hopefully maybe marriage, but I spoke to him and he said his parents spent $600,000. We're not talking wealthy people, $600,000 in courts. People kill each other. When I did my divorce mediation degree, they said that 50% of cases that are mediated, people could be in court for years. 50% of the cases that are mediated, they're mediated within 6 sessions, just 6 sessions. And they have 100% follow through. Because sometimes people want blood, which is stupid. But if you can be smarter than your stupid ego and say what is worth having, love, unity, even if it's a divorce, let's get along as best as we can. So we have to get back to our holiness. Sex is a sacred thing. It's a holy thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It unites us. But if it's something that unites two people in a sacred marriage, then it works. But if it's something that you're taking advantage of someone else, then it's an evil thing. You've just broken someone's heart and you are a type of a rapist. That's a terrible, horrific thing. And so you gotta, if you're watching pornography, put on filters on your computer. Pornography is evil because it makes people objectified. And then people think that this thing, that these sick whores that are debasing themselves, and then people think, and this is the largest government study into pornography, they think that this is okay. This is the way sex should be. As a lot of people that are educators, they say this is people's sex education. That is not sex. Sex basically is, and I have to say this because somebody's got to tell you the truth and somebody has to enlighten you as to what is right versus wrong. Sex is basically the missionary position, maybe at night, 2 times, again, as much as possible when the couple wants it, but within a 2-week time period and with respect. And the husband should be thinking about, how do I make my wife happy? If you do that, she'll be happy, she'll respect you, you'll have a great marriage. And so I really encourage you, what I'm saying really is not my wisdom, it's based on Kabbalah, to read Kabbalah on marital intimacy. That's the other appendix. And finally, last but not least, and that is, I have a worksheet. You can download it from my website under the marriage tab. Again, KabbalahLove.org. It's in the book. But the bottom line is you have to pay patient consideration to what matters to your spouse. We've spoken about this. When your spouse has an issue, you could use my worksheet on how to figure it out. You've got to work together. You have to compromise. You have to communicate. And if you do this, you will find that the two of you are madly in love. Women understand exchange. They are basically in that exchange mode. And so they appreciate compromise. They understand that they have to compromise unless there's something wrong. But therefore, you need to work together. You need to compromise and you need to work together. And when you do this, you're going to have an amazing, amazing life and relationship. May God bless you. May you make your life a shining example of harmony and unity. And may you bring goodness and kindness to the world. May every day of yours be filled with self-pride in who you are. In fact, the Rebbe says the greatest joy we have is self-pride. And that's the thing. I have a line. You want to feel good, you got to do good. We can't fool ourselves. If we're not doing good, we're not going to feel good. It takes energy and action. Shut off the media that's all about getting your eyeball into stupid things, into negative things. That's not where you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy through listening. I don't care if you have to listen to what I've told you 100 times. It's got to be part of your psyche. You have to believe it. You have to know that this is the only way to happiness. If you took this course, you probably saw the title, Why Jews Are So Smart. The truth of the matter is, we're not so smart. It is what God gave us. It's this spiritual technology. It's the way of interacting with the world, the way of dealing with your emotions. It's feeling love. It's giving love. It's overcoming resentment. Think about this. The Jews, they weren't the only people. Many, unfortunately, nations have gone through Holocaust where people persecuted them. But many of those people, they have not recovered. I don't want to mention nations by name, but some of them, they want reparations, and some of them, they want, they're drunks, they're beating their wives. There are many massive, hundreds of years later, these fallouts, and I can understand it because it caused this internal shame, and they haven't been able to overcome it yet. And think about this. A Holocaust happened. It murdered 1/3 of the Jewish people. That's 1 out of 3 Jews. 70 years later, Israel is one of the superpowers of the world. All over the world, a nation rose from the ashes. My own grandfather, his whole family was murdered. When he died, he in his own way had changed the world, and he was a multimillionaire. He didn't focus on vengeance. He focused on love. What can I do for someone else? That's what was his focus every day. What else can I do for someone? So we have to wake up. Focusing on negativity will never, ever make us happy. In fact, the only person it will make happy is the Satan, the dark side in the person. Even that person has a good side. They want you to be good. The real godliness wants only goodness and love. So we have to really focus, making this our mission. Everybody is desperate for a kind word, for love. When you see someone, you have to meditate. That person is the other half of my soul. There's only one God, and he's in many bodies. Everything that is us is a part of God. Imagine God as many, basically it's white, but it has many colors from that white. We're all one of his colors. When you see someone, you're seeing the other part of you, a different color. We all have a special talent. You have to use that talent for the world. It took me many years to figure out what my talent is. My talent is what I'm doing now, which is teaching practical advice from Jewish mysticism. It's something that I'm good at. My brain is just wired that it figures it out really simple. I encourage you to go to my blog, KabbalahWisdom.org, and subscribe. You'll get constant feed. It's very important to always be inspired. It's not good to just get inspired. You need to always be inspired, so you'll always get inspiration. But the point of the matter is, you've got to live and give. It's the only way. You've got to trust God is in control, and you got to love. You have to think of everybody else as parts of God. We're all parts of God, a special part of God in this world, a special talent, and we need to share our talent with the world. And I want to conclude on one thing. Again, it's so simple, but because it's so stupid, society as we see has a great predilection, like the emperor's clothing, that we're like this herd. Everybody's following and nobody knows who's the leader because somebody came up with an idea. The person can be mentally retarded or deviant or actually evil. And some of the ideas actually we have, I don't want to say which, but there was a nation that's very good at disinformation. They took people that are literally sick and they implanted their ideas in the society. And now this idea, which maybe it started off as well, that women should be free, but what is freedom? And this is so important to understand. We said this in the beginning. We are a soul in a body. The body one day will die, but the soul, the consciousness, remains forever. We have numerous studies of near-death experience that you, as a conscious being, will remain forever. You'll always remember what you did, which is why it's so important. Now, you have a role to play. If you're a woman, it's obvious, if you can, that your greatest contribution to the world is humanity. In fact, men cannot do what women can do. I remember when my wife went out of town for 2 weeks, and I, thank God, sent her for a beautiful vacation and all that stuff, and she left the food in the fridge, in the freezer, and it was the special, like, we keep kosher, and I took the kids out every night. 2 weeks later, I was like ready to commit suicide. I couldn't handle it. Why? And a psychologist told me, because a woman's job is super hard and men can't do it. They have to switch from thing to thing to thing. We men have much easier jobs. Okay, my job is, I don't know, I'm an accountant. I got to be an accountant. I got to do da, 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 da. It's much easier to have a single focus. In fact, women's brains can think of 3 things at once. I was telling this to a woman. She was like, oh, you only think at one thing? Oh, that must be so calm. Their brains are like, they have more white matter, 10 times as much. They're like super brains. But the super brain is given to them for a reason, that they can deal with their husband. They can deal with, the fact is, women do not appreciate their workload. And therefore, they're much better. I don't know if it's possible. It's probably not possible the way things are these days. But the greatest joy that women have, and this is from studies, is from being a mother. This is the thing. And don't have 2 kids, have 10 kids. That is your greatest happiness. I was speaking with a super psychiatrist. You know, you have some psychiatrists that are pretty much idiots. They just learn what they learned and they dish out medicines. But then you have people that are researchers. They're learning. And he says, this is what makes a woman happy. It makes her a woman. And by doing this, and studies even show that sex affects the mental. It's like, these are things, the way God made the world is good for you. And you will be happy. So get rid of the mentality of the world. Don't worry about what anyone else will say, because they're worried about what you're going to say about them. And they're messing up their lives because everybody else is following this herd going around and they're not happy. But you look at the people, and I come from a religious community, people have 10 kids. Those guys are super happy. It's beautiful. They have weddings and it's like it's a happening world. It's awesome. And so have as many kids as you can. Make your life your primary mission, your husband, your family. You have an ability that men don't have. I don't care what you say, men cannot do it the way that women can do it. And as a man, you have something special in you. You have a special talent. Generally, we can be happier than women, as I've said before. We have less white matter. That means that we can be a little bit less anxious. And so we have to realize that women by nature are more anxious. We have to bring them joy. Bring your children joy. Children by nature are a little bit worried. Bring your family joy. Fulfill your purpose. When you see someone in the street, realize that is another color of God in the world. We're all just colors of God. Even the vegetation, the animals, the beautiful stars, everything's just the color of God. And so we're all part of this tapestry, this beautiful, beautiful collage of colors. Don't get involved in any negativity. Just be involved in this concept of positivity. Know that everybody's looking for kindness. Love people. Don't fear. I bless you. May we all take this really to heart. And if we did this, wouldn't the world be an awesome place?